Good afternoon. Welcome to the October episode of the Michael Eure Show. Our special guest is Rene Daughtry. He's going to talk about the Internet of Things. And I'm going to let him take this moment to just give us a little bit of information about yourself, Rene.
A little information about myself. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rene Daughtry. Grew up in New York City. I'm here in North Carolina about 24 years now. When I say I'm from North Carolina, people go, not with that accent. Born in the Bronx, New York. I was brought up all my life up in the Bronx. Believe it or not, I grew up in the projects. I love to tell people that. Grew up in a single parent family, just my mom. And my mom, God bless her soul, was my mom and my dad, my teacher and preacher and warden and executioner. My mother said the key to success was education, and the lady was absolutely right. So I've been very fortunate to have mentors and really good positive friends who we all kind of grew up together, but always had that focus on education and moving forward.
Tell us a little bit about your education and how you also connect with local colleges, high schools, middle schools.
I can do that.
Go ahead.
Went to Catholic school, Catholic high school, and took some college. My biggest thing, though, a lot of things that I do, and people always ask me, what gives you the grounds to be able to speak to the things that you speak to? And I tell people, well, my credentials, I have a Bachelor of Science degree in New York Street Smarts, I've got a Master's degree in Practical Business Sense, and I've got a PhD in Flying by the Seat of My Pants. So I'm Rene Daughtry, THD, Doctor of Thinkology. And I'm always thinking, as I grew up, I was given a magnifying glass, and that magnifying glass changed my life. I saw the world differently, and it always had me ask questions why. And up to now, I always want to know why. So I've been very fortunate to be in areas and work with organizations where I was able to further my education in real time with on hands. For working with colleges in this area, Jesus, I've worked with ECPI, Wake Tech, Durham Tech, North Carolina Central, ECU, North Carolina A&T, and other named colleges in this area, bringing to the students and to the school the importance of technology and the importance of a Cisco Network Academy.
Right. Now tell us a little bit about the Cisco Network Academy, because we do have one at Wake Tech, maybe two. Tell us a little bit.
I will, which I helped start here.
Okay.
To me, when I was working with colleges and institutions, I noticed that we had a certain discipline of study. It was all academic, which is fine. As the world changed, and as I see from my own personal experiences and what these companies are looking for, I found more about the certifications. Degrees are really good to have,
right?
But those certifications at least tells these different companies and career centers that you have a specialty in a certain discipline.
Okay.
And the Cisco Network Academy, with this technology explosion that's happening around us, that certification at least gives students a leg up on knowing the latest and greatest technologies, being certified in it, and then graduating with their degree to make them a little bit more valuable in the workforce.
Okay.
So that was the whole purpose behind the Network Academy. Give those students the exposure as quick as possible so they're more valuable when they get out of school.
And when we say students too, we also talking about adults, because you help people change their career path with that type of certification, correct?
That's absolutely correct. For adults that's looking to reinvent themselves, and I've had even Rene Daughtry himself, I tell people, if you're looking at that, look at the technology world. Do you have to be a guru in math and science? Not really. But if you have that willingness to learn and be dedicated, you can actually get through these courses, obtain that certification, and at least be back into the workforce, starting to making a good salary.
Someone wants to know, how many certifications do you need to get started? And I guess they mean started in employment, or what is the process?
Here's what I'll do. Now, again, this is Rene Daughtry's own personal opinion. Okay. What I try to tell people is according to what your background is, and you can start with maybe even the CompTIA certifications, which are very low-level certifications, which will get you going. And then look at the Cisco certs. The Cisco CCENT, which is a very low-level certification, Cisco Certified Internet Working entry level, that can at least get you to that point where you can get into some entry-level jobs. Then look at CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Administrator, and then the other technology disciplines.
Okay.
And that would kind of get them on their way.
All right. Now, they always want to know, how much money can you make, or how much money would the lower level certification make compared to a higher level?
Well, to be perfectly honest with everyone, we can normally start out, I would say, $35, maybe $45,000.
Okay.
But with the CCIE, Cisco Certified Internetworking Expert, which is the top dog certification, that will guarantee normally a six-figure salary.
Okay, good. And we're going to talk a little bit more about when I met you a long time ago when they were digitizing the medical records in Eastern North Carolina. That's years ago.
I remember that.
But Cisco is known as the backbone of the internet. So kind of tell people what Cisco really is, if you can.
I can do that.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to 1984, where two instructors in Stanford University, the internet was here at the time, and they wanted to communicate across the campus in California. So in their garage, 1984 in San Francisco, they created the first multi-protocol router. So 30 years ago, that was the beginning of Cisco and the beginning of the internet pipeline, because that was the progression that Cisco took. The pipeline of the internet, getting the cabling, understanding the routers and switches, the protocols to get the internet up and running 30 years ago. And where we are today, Cisco is driving the internet of everything, connecting people, places, data, and processes on the internet. So we've gone from dial-up 30 years ago to Twitter, social media, e-commerce in about 30 years.
So would you say Cisco helped build the network?
Yes, Cisco is one of the primary companies in building the network now, pulling in that pipeline.
Okay. Now, I know that you're at the Research Triangle campus, but you have Cisco's everywhere. Yes?
Cisco is global. The company is global. You name the country or the city, and there's a Cisco presence there. Because we are everywhere.
Okay. I even saw a representative from Cisco on the news the other day. They were in Saudi Arabia with all the controversy, but their business is obviously there too. Mm-hmm. So tell us about some of the underdeveloped companies, because I know you talk many times with rural areas of North Carolina, but I'm going into other countries. But let's talk about North Carolina first, what you do with those areas outreach-wise.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Cisco allows me to do, and I love this, is give back. I've been able to, besides working in Durham, and there's a lot of places in Durham that we work with, the Durham Housing Authority and the Durham County Libraries, but the other side of I-95, Rocky Mount, Liggett, North Carolina, Scotland Neck, Princeville, actually came out and exposed the youth to technology, brought out the Cisco Network Emergency Response Vehicle.
I love that vehicle.
Oh, that vehicle.
TAC Ops.
TAC Ops is unbelievable. That vehicle can go anywhere, raise its satellite antennas, and instant internet access. So to have children and kids in rural North Carolina get into the truck, and one little girl asked me, "Can I call my cousin in South Carolina?" Sure, you can. And for her to speak to her cousin over the internet, voice over IP, totally blew that little girl away. And just recently, maybe about 2 years ago, I had a call to run into that little girl again. She's no longer a little girl. She's now in college, and she had told us because of that exposure, she decided to major now in networking and looking to be in operations and looking to be in cyber ops. Totally blew me away.
So tell us a little bit about your internship programs. You have internships with colleges, but you also do something with high schools. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right.
That's correct. What I've done, we got to be careful. We call it the Cisco High School Job Shadowing Program. Okay. And what we do with that, I look for, I work with various high schools in the area, especially if I can with the underserved community. The high school students have to have at least a 3.0 index, GPA, and get a letter of recommendation from the teachers. And then they have to give me a 45-second video on why they want this job shadowing opportunity. And what they actually do, they actually work in the Cisco lab for those 3 weeks. Okay. They shadow college interns, they shadow Cisco engineers. Okay. So the things they're learning in high school, or they would like to learn in high school, they actually have hands-on experience for 3 weeks in the summer, all volunteer. And hopefully what that leads them to is a regular Cisco internship, which can be anywhere from $20 to $30 an hour.
All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about your communications technology. I always remember that Star Trek experience when I went to Cisco, and you had some young people in another country, and we went in this conference room, and it looked like they were in the room with us. What is that called?
Oh, at the time that was telepresence. Now it's WebEx and Spark rooms.
Okay.
We use that that technology, the telepresence technology, so the kids here in North Carolina can interact and speak with the kids in, at that time it was Nairobi, which was very interesting. It was middle schoolers. And it was funny, I had spent 4 nights coming up as being the big master of ceremonies, building up all these questions that I was going to go, well, the kids in the United States, you ask them a question, and the kids in Nairobi ask them another question. Once the session came up, the kids looked at one another and they immediately started to interact. They started to speak with each other. They compared notes. They compared what was the music like in Nairobi compared to the United States. I looked at my script and threw it out the window. Those kids for the hour took control. And you know what? It was a wonderful experience to watch the US kids and the Nairobi kids speak and realize there wasn't that much difference.
And now you got me segueing into our South African students from Monument Park High School and hello, Reverend Jacobs. Tell us about those experiences. You've been hosting them for about 5 years now.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember Michael Eure and Reverend Jacobs, Reverend Robinson had asked me, could I have the students come to the Cisco campus for a day of presentations, meeting people, and a lab tour. And it was funny, I did it that once, and saw the passion in those kids from South Africa, how much they wanted to know, their go-getiveness, their wide openness, their passion to learn more and to interact more with people in the United States. Totally just blew me away. And I've had a wonderful time speaking with them every time they come. That seems to be a normal now when they come to the United States to come to Cisco.
Reverend Jacobs says you cannot, that's the first thing he puts. Cisco is first, Wake Tech is second, and then everything else is done. So hallelujah for that. Now, Cisco really encourages their staff to be developing themselves personally, and they support your entrepreneurial activities. So tell us about Symmetry and what does it do, and when did you do it, and how did you do it?
Okay,
go ahead.
That's Asymmetry.
Asymmetry.
And I am a Cisco engineer. I'm now a Cisco Solution Validation Services Project Manager. But I have a passion of giving back to the community, and I've always had a love of Lego robotics. Always been introduced to this maybe 12 or 15 years ago. First Robotics. And would always go out and help promote First Robotics, and decided to go, how can I put a business model around this idea and passion to bring it more to our community, to start some type of revenue stream, not so much for myself, but it does cost money. Right. The Lego program. But how can I get a revenue stream going where I can maybe get funding from one entity to help and maybe start a Lego program in another entity that cannot afford it?
Right.
And that was the best thing for me to do, was create this business to actually make that happen. Pair up with some nonprofits where they can get the proper grants to make some of these things happen. And even the money that we make, I've been called a social economic entrepreneur. Not here to make a lot of money, which would be nice,
right,
but also to make those funds be able to open up and start programs where they can't afford it, and giving that money back to get into our community. I've spoken with a lot of people that even ask me, why should I maybe invest in you, in your company and what you're doing? I go, you're not investing in me. Let's make sure we get this understanding between us. You're investing in the community. Is to give back to the community, to get that population back up and running again, to have them be more aware of this technology and get this hands-on, and get them into Lego robotics and Lego competition. Because, as we can tell in the world now, robots are here. And they're not taking away jobs. The job market is just shifting. And I've got to get these kids prepared for this shift, is what we're doing.
All right, so you've worked with the Y of the triangle with the robotics before, or no?
Yes, it's the Light and the Y Achievers.
Okay.
And right now with the Durham Housing Authority, the Durham County Library, and with North Carolina Central University in their minority STEM program.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit more about that STEM and how you help that kind of trajectory. Because a lot of young people, they're scared of math, they're scared of science, and you make it fun.
Well, here's what we do, and here's what I do too personally, and my colleagues. We now promote STEAM, science, technology, engineering, Science, technology, engineering, art, music, and math. Okay. Art and music is math and science.
Right.
And a lot of people have to understand that. In fact, it's funny, in one of our Lego robotic programs in Durham, I had a little boy who did not want to be in the program. He told me he wanted nothing to do with the robots. I told him, I said, son, what is it that you like to do? Well, Mr. Daughtry, I like beats. You like beats? Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you what, my robot has sound sensors. Can you create beats to make my robot move? And that's exactly what that young man did. And when he did that, he now correlated that math and music to the robots. And he's one of the best kids in the program.
Wow.
So again, we've got to let kids understand that art and music is math and science. Okay. So this is all connected. Everything is all connected. And once they start to really understand that, they start to embrace it more. Okay. Because now I'm including the kids who may be not that proficient in math, right, but we're noticing once they get into these programs that we have, all their all-around scores, math, scholastic scores start to go up.
Yeah, and you're making me remember, you will remember this, Christopher Martin and Dietrich Clark, and you did something with Durham County Schools, and I remember Kuda Chana Kira, right? He used to work there, but he worked somewhere else. Tell us about that program you did to get young people in the Durham schools excited.
But that was
the video.
The video. That was an effort with a bunch of us.
Okay.
That was Akuda, Wayne White, Takora, Christopher Martin. It was funny. Cisco had asked, can we come up with a message to get to our young students and young kids about technology? So I said, well, the best way to do that is through music. The three gentlemen that I mentioned, they're hip-hop artists. They're positive hip-hop artists. So in less than 2 days, they came up with a piece of music which totally blew me away, named Get Yours. They used technology to create the music because they created it all online and remotely is what they did. Right. And then once they put the hip-hop song together, Get Yours, I asked Christopher Martin, through Dietrich, Christopher, could you just kind of listen to this and say, do we have something?
Right.
He came back to me and went, I'd like to do the video. And I was like, excuse me? I'm not even thinking about a video. Long story short, we created a video using the Durham public school, some kids in the Durham public school system. Wayne Wright and all of them got together, put the music together, put it all in the video, and we produced the video over the summer. That was, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago or so. It's been a while.
Oh, wow.
But just that whole movement was just absolutely unbelievable. And the video is still out there on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And I remember Princeville, for example, those young people and adults went down there and performed for their Heritage Festival, and Cisco hosted like a big Black History celebration down in Princeville. For those of you who don't know, Princeville is the oldest town chartered by Blacks in the United States, and it's in North Carolina. So I thought that was an interesting thing because they actually went down there and performed and interacted with the young people.
Yes, they did. The kids loved it.
Mm-hmm. So tell us what's going on with you now, because I know about Cisco and the Sanctuary, that's one of your favorite things. That's just standard. But tell us what else you're doing.
Now, really, besides working with Cisco, making sure that a lot of these young students see us, especially the young minority middle school males, that they see engineers, managers, data analytic people look like them. Because I worked with them during the summer, which was really nice for a couple of days. And even up to now, some of the kids still see me and they'll go, oh, there's Rene Daughtry. He's an engineer. Just so that perception with them of engineering, now they can see themselves being engineers. Right. And to me, that's so important right now. They need to see people who look like them so they can model. I've had one little young man who just blew me away at the Saturday Academy, and his mom had to come see me. She said, I have to see who this Mr. Daughtry is. And I went to myself, oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know what I did. I'm going to be all over YouTube right now. She goes, my son, and his name is Tyler, said he would like to be like Mr. Daughtry. Mr. Daughtry goes to church, he's an engineer, and he takes care of his family. I was absolutely speechless for that mother to come up and say that to me, because I went, you see, it's not about being a basketball player. It's not about being in entertainment. It's about being a family man doing the right thing and letting our kids see that, because they need to see more of us doing this so they can model themselves after us. Totally blew me away.
And we're at the Research Triangle campus of Wake Tech, and the folks want to know, what is the Internet of Things? Tell us what that is.
The Internet of Things. Cisco is the driver behind this whole concept of the Internet of Things. That is everything and anything connected to the network. But looking at, there's a website called didyouknow.org, and I may have the numbers wrong, so please forgive me, because they change constantly. By the year 2020, 60 billion network connections.
Wow.
This device, your mobile device, will be your main connection to the network by the year 2020.
Wow.
So things are just changing around us as we speak. More things are being connected. So I'm telling kids now, think about network security, cyber ops, because of all this connectivity. It's just the way the world is going. It's what the users, what we're demanding.
Okay, what does that mean for a person's refrigerator? They want to know.
Well, your refrigerator is a smart refrigerator where you have an application, an app on your mobile device, where you can either go right to the screen on your refrigerator and key in your groceries, the things that you're missing as you look inside of your refrigerator. Voice control to your refrigerator. I'm out of eggs, I'm out of milk, I need tomatoes. That will be communicated to your refrigerator. You will then hit the send button, and to your local grocery store who has that technology will gather your order, have it either prepared for you when you drive up, or have it delivered to your house.
Now, speaking of houses, I have another question. Is there a technical protocol for small business security so that China cannot access the refrigerator?
Eva Lee wants to know that.
Eva Lee.
Well, here's what we tell people about their home security. Make sure that when you have your routers and switches at home, that you have, first of all, things are encrypted, number one, that you change those admin passwords, because people get devices, and you leave the default password on. And that default password, an engineer like me, that's the first thing we're going to look at. So encryption, make sure you have really good passwords on your network, and just be careful on how the things that you connect. Just make sure things are connected very securely to your home network. That is my biggest advice to people.
And you also talk about when people are out on these open networks, they should be careful not to transact business. Go ahead.
When you're at Starbucks or McCafe or all these wonderful public places and you're on public Wi-Fi, let's just be careful of what you're doing and be conscious of what you're doing on these networks. Even though you may have a phone that's secured and you have VPN going back and forth, be very careful of your banking or anything that you're doing very sensitive on public Wi-Fi networks. You have unscrupulous people who are sitting in these environments who have different devices on their laptops that's waiting for individuals to log into the network to do something like that so they can capture your information. My suggestion is just be careful. If anything is important like that, do that in the own safety of your own home.
Okay, Eva Lee is asking, she wants to clarify, things that her IT guy can do, are there best practices? Or would you say what you just said were best practices?
Some of those best practices, work with the IT guys, set up like in my home. I have my home private cloud. We store things in the house. I figured that one out on a public cloud. And VPN, virtual private networks. Set those up on your devices, and even make sure you have the appropriate antivirus and security software on all of your devices. My laptop, my phone, I personally use Norton, and it's on everybody's mobile devices in the house.
All right, now you gave demonstrations in the past about you're like a secret agent. He can just push the button to see his house and see what's going on in the house. And tell us about that. And also, I guess that's a security camera on steroids, because you can look in every room. But also your son when he's doing homework, and he's doing so many different things. And you gave a story, the wife thought that he wasn't really studying, but he was. Go ahead.
Oh, this was funny. My wife, she's not technology savvy. So as all parents do, we talk to the ceiling. Do your homework. So my son, Tanoy, comes bopping down the steps with his earplugs in and his mobile device in his hands. So she was ready to say something to him again. And I went, no, just watch what he does. So he has a schoolmate on FaceTime on his phone. He goes to my desktop and he logs into Google Docs. So what he's doing, and I told my wife, he's working in the cloud. He's accessing cloud technology, Google Docs. He's working on video streaming and collaboration because he's working with his team, his schoolmates, on a project all virtually. So yes, he's doing his homework, but now the kids are so in tune to technology, it's just second nature to them. And parents are a little out of tune because they don't think they're doing their homework, when in actuality, they really are. So they're using all of this smart technology and cloud accessibility to do their school lessons.
So Eva, who's very active in questioning, she says this reminds her of Ring that works with your doorbell.
New technology that's out, yes, that's very cost effective, and it seems to be that type of virtualization where you have home security and things at your fingertips. You can speak to people that's coming to your door, even though you're at a remote location. So I see more and more of that coming around, being, being the way of the world. Once again, just make sure that that type of network and that accessibility is secure, because if you can access it, I've got a hacker who can get in there and access that as well.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask for Dietrich because I know he knows that you are on the show today. He's at a conference. That's why he's not listening. He wants you to come over to Washington Terrace. I think he's probably talked to you a little bit about that Durham Housing DHIC project that he's working on.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
That tech ops, is that something you might bring to a place like that, or does it need to be a bigger kind of space?
No. In fact, I've been very fortunate again. The times that I asked for TAC Ops or the Network Emergency Response Vehicle, the NERV vehicle, if they were not out on an emergency and they really had the bandwidth, they would join me. Okay. They've joined me at some school events. They've joined me at neighborhood events. In fact, if I remember right, for 2 years we did the WNNL Family Day. So if it's available and they have the bandwidth, and I ask, and normally I've been very fortunate. If I ask, they know that we're going to do something to impact the community, and they'll try to be there. Okay.
Now, tell us a little bit about how you might interact with Cisco academies. I know that they all have their own coordinators, but do they interact with you?
What I try to do with some of the Cisco Network Academies, and I can't do them with all of them, I really work with the one that's Central and sometimes ECU, to try to either be a guest speaker, to come in and talk more to the students about the importance of the Network Academy, and maybe have 1 or 2 Cisco certified engineers maybe teach 1 or 2 courses. Okay. Because there's a whole lot, it's much more interesting. I have nothing, again, please, professors, don't beat me up. But if we have an engineer who's certified, in a certain technology, come in and be a guest speaker or a guest instructor, that really speaks volumes.
And you're on an advisory board with Wake Tech, with technology, or did you used to be on one?
Wake Tech, ECU, North Carolina A&T, North Carolina Central, ECPI, I kind of reside on their board of advisors. Okay. And that's what helps me, y'all, being able to speak more and working with academia to get the Cisco Network Academy at the schools.
Right. And when Career and Employment Resources and Our Pathways bought some students from Wake Tech to Cisco, I still get students asking me about that. They want to be Cisco certified. Now, would it be, and I think you answered this already, recommended since they've already graduated, that they just go to maybe our workforce and continuing ed? It doesn't have to be in the curriculum side to matter, right?
No, and here's what I tell students, reoccurring adults, reinventing adults. The more certifications you have, it's always plan A, B, C, D, and F. Okay. And the certifications are recognized globally. This is important. Okay. And not just by Cisco, by the information technology and communications field. So every company that has a network, and just about every company has a network, that Cisco certification will help you get employment there. So it's not just Cisco, it's all over. It's the whole ICT world.
Yeah, some people say that sounds better than a degree. Since we're doing this online, can a person get certified online?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, take the certification classes, and then normally with those classes and that course, you get a voucher to go to one of the training centers and certification centers and actually take the test to be certified.
and I need you to give us information if somebody wants to get in touch with you, because you don't mind people emailing you, at least.
Oh, no.
Right?
No.
So if you can just give out your contact information and the best way for somebody to reach you.
I can do that.
Okay.
My email address, rdaughtr@cisco.com. And my desk number is 919-392-2385. I'd just like to spend 1 minute in just a quick closing. We are entering and we are in the fourth industrial revolution. The first industrial revolution was the people moving from, I guess, coming into cities, coming more into that urban type of life. Second industrial revolution, the invention of the car, electricity, printing press, things of that nature. Third industrial revolution, the internet. The fourth industrial revolution, the merger of technology, the digital, the metaphysical, the biophysical, the biomedical and technology are all merging to this fourth industrial revolution. And that's where we are.
Well, that was a wonderful way for us to end. And I do want to say, Wake Tech is a future forward college, and we will be having a futures conference on Friday and Saturday. You can look that up. It's open, and the Research Triangle campus will have open house this Saturday. Until next time, I'd like to, well, first of all, my guest next time will be Leon Scott, who's the general manager of the Sheraton Raleigh Hotel, and he'll be talking about careers in hospitality. So thank you for joining us, and thank you, Rene. I've enjoyed you.
Thank you.